Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 179. Today, we are back for another weekly episode. Let's give some updates for the viewers. Everyone's favorite show, everyone's favorite segment that we do, 25 words or less, should be back this weekend.
Yeah, it's coming. The return is here.
Most likely will be back this weekend. So if you guys love that, if you started watching us because of that, episode 3 of it is coming back. We got to start doing it more often because people love it.
Yeah, people love tuning into that.
I posted a clip of it that I didn't post from the one that we did months ago on TikTok, like probably 2 weeks ago, and it's our most viewed TikTok video ever. Like,
how many views is that?
Like, it was at, I don't know, like 550,000 or something.
Insane.
Like, just out of nowhere, and it's just like that video was like a month before that. So it doesn't matter when I post it. Like, the people love it. So we need to get more of it out there. So we're going to be doing it. Easton's actually going to be making them this time.
Yeah, you're going to be playing the game, which is going to be really fun.
Which I'm not excited to do. Yeah, I love just watching the game.
I'm going to be really excited because I've been thinking, like, as we've been playing, I've been thinking of what I think would be funny clues.
Right. And,
like, funny words to put on there, and I can't wait to test some of them out.
Sweet.
And see my thoughts.
I'm excited to see that. Also, go check us out and everything. Like I just said, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, at High Tempo Podcast. You already know I've been posting the polls of the games on TikTok and Instagram of the March Madness games about who you guys think are going to win. You guys been doing terrible, man. Like, if you follow us on Instagram, the Instagram polls are just... I don't know how many games you got out of the 4 days I did them. Maybe like 3 of them total.
Yeah,
like, it was rough.
Batting not even 100. Like,
however,
like, less than 100.
It has been difficult to pick these games.
Sure.
So.
For sure. I didn't pick them well. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, that's very true. Let's talk about a controversial topic before we get into the episode first. So, like, because I said follow us on Twitter, right? So I've been really wanting to, like, you know, I don't want to hop on the Twitter blue thing,
like,
because like I just don't, it just seems wrong.
Check.
I'm paying for the check mark, like that just seems dumb.
I feel the same way.
But you see on April something, Elon Musk put out that how there's like the For You page on Twitter now.
Mm-hmm.
All of the your tweets will not be sent to that unless you are subscribed to Twitter Blue. I'm pretty sure even if you are like not like previously verified and not subscribed to Twitter Blue. Like, only your followers will see your tweets, basically.
How do we feel about that?
That's what I'm like. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's the controversy. Like, I don't want to bow down to the man,
Elon,
and like
to the man.
pay $7 for a blue check just so we can get a couple more likes on our tweets.
Is it $7 annually or monthly? If it's monthly, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's monthly, but it might also just be like a one-time payment. I don't really
see, and that wouldn't be that bad. Like.
I feel like it's probably
it
monthly,
just feels so like the check mark used to be a sign of like respect,
a sign of like you're a legit source,
like you can be trusted. This is a real person. They are going to give you, and that's not always like interesting stuff, but they're big enough to have a platform to get the check mark. Mm-hmm. The fact that you and I can just go pay for it with like.
We have like 30 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, and we can just go be verified is horseshit.
Yeah, I agree that it is. Like, it's...
But we have to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do we do it? So, like, basically, this is a call out to all of our fans. Go follow us on Twitter so that, we can get some more followers and maybe organically get the check mark. I don't think that you can
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it exists.
Unless you were previously verified, you could, like... reapply just to get the verification.
But I don't know what's going to happen after this deadline now, you know, like, so.
Is it like Dave Portnoy not verified?
He's never been verified, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
Which is pretty weird.
Yeah, Elon Musk said the other day that Twitter is now worth half of what it was when he bought it. Like, Twitter has dropped that much in value since he bought it. Makes sense.
I mean, at least he's open about it.
Yeah, he does not lie about his numbers. It's so weird.
It's weird. I love Twitter, too. It's like my favorite app, but it's just like... I understand why people are boycotting the app,
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And especially with the takeover of TikTok. Do you know 150 million American users are on TikTok? That is like half the country.
It's a lot of people.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
That is so many people that are just scrolling. It's one of the craziest. I mean, it's got to be the most universal app at this point. It's got to be more universal than Facebook.
I honestly don't know.
I feel like it's got to be, but maybe not.
I really don't know.
Facebook's just got all the, but old people are on TikTok.
Old people are on TikTok too.
Like
yeah,
a lot of them. All of them. My dad sends me TikToks at like midnight 40. It'll be 1 a.m, and I'm getting
crazy.
TikToks from my dad, and they're just the most random TikToks.
Yeah.
I love it though. It's so good, so good.
All right, let's actually get into the episode, though. Sorry for that little tangent there. So let's talk. Where do we want to start out? Because we have a lot of things to talk about today. Let's just go over what we're going to talk about, actually. Baseball. Let's post this episode tomorrow just so it gives people a day in advance. But we're recording this on Tuesday night. We are doing something that we have never done on this show, and that is predicting some MLB things for this season. Opening day is Thursday. Super excited. I'm actually really excited for this baseball season. MLB The Show dropped today, so it's perfect time for baseball. We're going to be predicting the World Series and our MVPs of both leagues, and then we're going to talk about the Final Four, obviously, along with the high tempo bracket, and we're going to predict the Final Four. And then we're going to talk about the NBA MVP race because it's crazy right now, and talk about just the standings in the West and East in general because it's really close, and we're going to do our top 5 championship contenders as well heading into the playoffs. So that's the lineup for today.
Yeah, if you're not a fan of the NBA, typically now is the time to start watching if you want good basketball because there's a lot of important games happening on a nightly
Big time.
basis.
Even just last night, there was a lot of big games going down. So yeah, let's hop into it. Let's start with the baseball. I think it would be fun to do that. So, as you guys know, we are not typically a baseball podcast. I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge of the Major League Baseball. Easton, I'll let you give your, how much you are knowledge of it.
I'm on the other side. I don't really know much about baseball. I know a decent amount about the actual game that they play.
Right.
But the actual players from
league,
team to team, every year me and Sam will do the fun game of how many Tigers can I name, and it's not a long list of Tigers I can name. And you look at across the rest of the MLB. I mean, we did the fantasy draft the other day in our baseball league. Through the first 3 rounds, I didn't know who I was picking at that moment.
Yeah.
Unless it was somebody on my fantasy team the year prior. I didn't know who they were. But
this is the year, though.
This is the year. Because even doing this today, we're doing trivia later, and I have a baseball trivia. I was having fun doing that even. Just learning players, seeing what they're doing, seeing what I actually do know about baseball. But again, it's a short list of things I do know. So if my picks are wild, just let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
It's real nice.
Nothing wrong with it.
Real friendly.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. We're just trying to, we're gonna talk more about baseball on this podcast.
Yes.
I think that's what
the
goal for doing this is, just a reason to continuously have a little 10-minute segment about baseball because a lot of people don't like baseball, but I really do enjoy. I think it's one of the most fun sports to watch, which actually people don't agree. They would think the opposite, but I love watching baseball because of the casualness of it.
Yes.
That's why I love it so much.
And I think for someone like you who is always watching sports, every night you have a sports game on you don't watch TV shows necessarily.
No.
I'm a TV show guy. I'll watch the occasional TV show. But you are always got whatever's on, you're watching. So It's probably really nice to take a second away from the intense basketball, football games where everything matters and just watch a 162 game season.
Exactly.
Where on a day-to-day basis, it just don't really matter.
And you can always rely on a baseball game to be on. It's like NBA. It's what teams are on, what game's on. I don't feel like watching, Hornets, Bulls this time of year, but baseball game, Tigers are on every single day.
Yeah. And Ivan made a great point the other day. He's like, I can walk away for 2 hours, come back, and I haven't missed anything.
Yeah, you can tune right in, and it's whoa.
Oh, he's pitched.
It's still 2-1.
He's pitched 70 more pitches, and there's been 2 more hits.
Exactly, yeah. So, and it's the best sport to watch while playing video games, too, easily, because you can just look up every couple minutes, that's basically it. All right, so let's get into it. Let's do our MVP picks first. Last year, Aaron Judge won the American League MVP after breaking the American League home run record. And Paul Goldschmidt won the National League MVP from the St. Louis Cardinals. So we are going to be picking our MVPs today. I think it'd be fun, actually, now that I think of it. I might as well pull up FanDuel and just see the odds for these guys to win the MVP.
Gotcha.
Just because, maybe you have a wild pick that is not even on there. So we'll see. So let's go ahead. Who's your pick? You can start whatever league you want.
We're going to start with the best player in baseball. We're going to start in the American League. I was fortunate enough in our MLB fantasy draft to have the number 1 overall pick, and it's clear who you take. It's Shohei Ohtani. Bring him back. The MVP award. Judge stole it from him last year. He should have been going for the 3-peat this year, but he's not. So hopefully he just gets the second MVP this year.
Yes, Shohei Ohtani is the betting favorite to win the American League MVP at plus 220. I actually made a bet on him to win the MVP a while ago, a couple weeks ago. He was still at plus 220 then, so nothing changed. I also chose Shohei Ohtani. It's just like, especially with him having the year off of winning the MVP, it really feels just destined for him to win it. Aaron Judge would have to have another year where he even goes more homers for him not to win it. With the whole World Baseball Classic, which, by the way, we were watching that game when we were recording last week's episode, and then we didn't watch the end together.
It was the craziest game.
It was actually me and Willie were playing Xbox while I was watching it. That was actually one of the coolest sports moments I've ever watched in my whole life. It was just I was in awe of what just happened.
The Titans meeting at the end.
Yeah, it was just the fact that actually happened and the way it did. So cool. So cool for the sport of baseball as well. Shohei Ohtani is my American League pick. It's basic, but he's going to win the award this year. He's the type of guy that should win the award every year. But he will win it this year for sure.
Yeah, saw some people comparing the World Baseball Classic to what we saw in the World Cup recently with Ronaldo and Messi getting to meet up in the championship game. Trout and Shohei for the final out is just crazy. What an awesome way to end the World Baseball
Ronaldo
Classic.
And Messi didn't play in the finals of the World Cup, right?
No, they did.
They did?
Yeah.
It was Portugal versus Argentina. Portugal didn't make it, right?
No, it might have been it might have been the EuroLeague Cup. It might have been the EuroLeague Cup.
Oh, yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, I think it was the EuroLeague Cup.
I have no clue about that, yeah. All right, National League MVP. This is where things get a little bit different. I'll just say that the favorites right now on FanDuel for the NL MVP includes names of Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis, even though he's suspended for the first month. Those are your top guys.
So let me get this clear. Juan Soto was not previously on the Padres.
He was
last
not.
year.
Last year,
he was the big trade.
At the trade deadline. Yeah,
the humongous
one. One of the craziest trades in recent MLB history.
Where? Don't tell me. I'm going to guess. Did he play for the D-backs before?
He did not. That's not a bad guess.
He played for a black and red team, right?
Kinda a red team.
Braves?
No.
Cardinals?
No. There's a lot of red teams.
I don't know.
The Washington Nationals is the team he played for.
I do have Juan Soto winning the NL League MVP, new member of the Padres, who should have a loaded squad.
Yeah. Quickly, just want to say, Woj just tweeted, D-Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, Becky Hammond, and Greg Popovich are among the finalists who've been elected into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Repeat that? The entire Spurs roster?
Yeah. Tony Parker, Greg Popovich, Becky Hammond are the only Spurs.
Oh, okay.
Well, did Pau Gasol ever play for the Spurs? Did he
Towards
play?
the end of his career,
I feel like he did, right?
After the Bulls?
Did he?
I think so.
I feel like he did, but
Me too.
that feels wrong, though. No,
you got to look it up. Look it up.
No,
we got to know.
Okay,
I think he did towards the end of his career.
Now we're just going off on a total tangent.
We are so far.
This has been a bad episode. So
no, this is good podcasting.
You're right.
This is quality.
I don't think Pau Gasol played for the Spurs, right? Yeah, he did. 2 years on the Spurs. Okay.
Year after the Bulls?
Yes, after the Bulls. In between the Bulls and when he played 3 games for the Bucks. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, the Padres are going to be loaded this year. Fernando Tatis is hopefully done with his whole thing. That
Padres are so loaded.
Yeah, they signed Xander Bogaerts this offseason. They made a couple other trades, too. I'm trying to think of who
They've got Manny Machado, right?
Yeah, they have Manny Machado. So that team is obviously going to be loaded.
You hear me right now? I mean, I'm spewing
Machado's
information.
Exactly.
I'm tossing names out. And Machado won the MVP a couple years ago, right?
I don't think Machado's ever won the MVP.
Shit.
He might have, though. I mean, I don't know 100% my
Gotcha.
MVPs, but I don't think he ever did. If he did, then I'm wrong. Juan Soto, I want to pick him because I drafted him in fantasy baseball, so obviously I want to root for him. But I have a sleeper pick that I think is going to win it all. A guy that heated up in the MVP talk last year towards the end of the year. You actually had him on your fantasy team, so you are going to know who this guy is.
No, you can go for it.
Austin Riley is going to be
gotcha.
my NL MVP pick. He's a little bit of a sleeper here. He's at plus 1,600. He's about 8th or 9th on this list here. But the Braves are going to be a really good team again. Ronald Acuna obviously is the guy you think of when you think of the Atlanta Braves, but Austin Riley did a lot of damage last year. I think he's going to continue to build off that, and he's my pick for NL MVP.
Third baseman for the Braves.
Yeah.
That's him. And I traded him away for like a bag of chips.
I traded him to you, and then you traded him away, and then that's when he started going on.
Yeah, it was like a good trade when I got him.
Yeah.
And then I just blew it.
I gave you Nasty Nestor, too.
Yeah, and he's a baller. That guy's
And
tough.
I got Josh Hader, and then as soon as he got traded to the Padres, he just, like, was terrible.
Yeah, I do.
But I drafted him again this year, so. All right, so those are our MVP picks for the MLB. Sorry, excuse me.
For the season. For baseball.
Let's pick the World Series. Who is making the World Series and who is winning the World Series? What is the matchup looking like?
In the AL, I have sadly the Pinstripe Boys, the New York Yankees, going to the World Series.
Finally.
Aaron Judge was named the captain this offseason. What a big honor in the Yankees franchise. And in the NL, I do have the Padres making it. Just running with that nasty squad that they got.
Right.
Tatis comes back. You have Manny Machado. You've got Juan Soto.
Yep, big three
that's who
right
you
there,
got.
yep.
I don't know anybody else.
They got Xander Bogaerts, too. They brought him in.
Wait, didn't you just say Josh Hader?
They have Josh Hader.
Yeah.
They have Yu Darvish, Blake
They
Snell.
got you, Darvish.
Yeah.
He's a baller.
He is.
He can play.
Yep. And who wins the World Series?
The Padres do.
Padres
They're
over
just
the
got a
Yankees.
loaded squad.
You know, the Yankees, they've really struggled to make it over the hump. They just lose to the Astros in the playoffs every single year. So we'll see if this is the year for them. For me, I have the Seattle Mariners making the World Series out of the American League. They're a sleeper team this year, but they have a good pitching staff led by a young star.
That's Julio Rodriguez.
Yep, he's getting there, bro.
What you know about me?
Julio Rodriguez obviously leading that team. They made a couple trades. They got Teoscar Hernandez from the Toronto Blue Jays. However, I have them losing to a team that is in the talk for it every year. The team with one of the highest payrolls every year. The Los Angeles Dodgers, I think, win the World Series this year. They're just too good to not go on another run. They lost early last year. They won the most games in the MLB last year by a lot. I think they do the same thing this year, but they got to be more focused on the playoffs this time. They did lose Max Scherzer, obviously, so that's tough, but I got the Dodgers.
They're the team with a loaded pitching staff, right? I mean, it's just...
Yeah, they have a pretty good pitching staff. Yeah, they just have a loaded team
Gotcha,
from top to bottom. Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, so that is it for our baseball predictions.
And since we're on the topic of baseball, we might as well do my baseball trivia right now.
Yeah, sure.
As in...
Let's do it.
So my trivia for you today. Can you name the top 10 current players with the most home runs? This is according to StatMuse,
right?
And I feel it's accurate.
Yeah, it definitely would be accurate. So, like, most career home runs.
Yes, career home runs.
From current players.
Current
players only. Okay. Miguel Cabrera.
He's number 1 with 507.
Okay. So, obviously, Albert Pujols recently retired. So, let me try and think of some older guys here that would be on this list. Who are some older dudes that would be on here? It's just hard to, like, go through every team.
There aren't a lot of old... I mean, there are... Obviously, these are older guys.
Yeah, but not, like, guys that just, like, fallen off. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so, like, Aaron Judge is probably on here.
He is not.
Okay.
He is not.
Okay, he's not. Okay, that's interesting.
There's some other top-tier talent in the MLB right now, though.
Oh,
on this.
Paul Goldschmidt?
Yeah, he is number 7 on the list with 315 current home runs.
Gotcha. Okay,
he plays for the Cardinals in the NL Central. He's a first baseman. Just in case you're curious about what I wrote down.
Okay, let me try and think here. I just want to make sure. Oh man, the fact that this could be a bad guess. Is Josh Donaldson on this list?
He's not on this list.
That probably was a bad guess. I just have to think of older guys that maybe aren't.
I'll tell you, there are 3 outfielders on the list.
Okay. Mike Trout.
Mike Trout is number 4 at 350 home runs.
Okay, Mike Trout is on there. Is Nelson Cruz still active?
He is number 2. He plays for the Padres.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know he's on with the Padres. Yeah.
DH for the Padres, 459 home runs.
Okay, yeah. Nelson Cruz, got him off of there. I had a guy I was going to guess, but I cannot. Okay. This might be is Freddie Freeman on here?
Yeah, he's number 9.
Okay.
292 home runs.
He's not much of a home run hitter. He just always hits really well, average-wise. But
I didn't know he was a first baseman. Freddie Freeman sounds like a second baseman to me.
Does he?
Yeah, he sounds like a Golden Glove winner. every year after year.
He has been a first baseman Gold Glove winner, but
Oh, really? Okay, so maybe that's why
his Gold Glove winner is only at second base or something.
just feels like first base wouldn't be a position you get that award at.
You get it. Every single position gets one. So.
Oh, what?
Yes.
There is so much you can learn about baseball in 15 minutes.
Yeah, you can.
So there are literally there's a third base every year who wins the Gold Glove.
And it's Nolan Arenado every single year.
Gotcha.
Is Nolan Arenado on here?
Yeah, he's number 8.
Okay,
299.
now that I thought of it, I was like, there's a good chance he's on there.
Yeah, he's number 8.
Okay, so how many am I missing?
You've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're missing 4. You're missing number 3, number 5, number 6, and number 10.
This is definitely a bad guess, but he's just on my mind. Is Pete Alonso on here?
He is not.
Yeah, definitely too young. Definitely.
You're missing 2 outfielders, a first baseman, and a third baseman.
Okay. Like, do you know these guys' names like before you did this?
Oh yeah. 2 of them I definitely know. One of them was on the cover of MLB The Show.
Okay. That one probably doesn't help me too much. I don't know my MLB The Show covers too well.
He's an outfielder.
Yeah. Okay. Was on the cover of the show as an outfielder
For the team he currently plays for.
Give me a league.
He plays in the NL.
Okay. Give me the division. Give me the
NL Central.
Okay. Cubs. Nobody. Cardinals. Nobody. Reds. Oh, is Joey Votto on here?
Yeah, he is. He's number 5.
Okay. He's not the outfielder, obviously.
Nope, 342.
Just had to think of him. Nobody on the Reds, though, other than him, I don't think. Oh, it is Andrew McCutchen.
It is Andrew McCutchen, number 10.
Yeah, he's back on the Pirates now, too, which is really cool that he re-signed there.
So I didn't even know that. I assumed he had played his whole career on the Pirates.
He went to a couple different locations across the last couple
and he
years.
was on the MLB The Show cover, right?
Yeah, I think he was. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I just thought of the other guy, Bryce Harper. Is he on here?
No.
Really? No Bryce Harper?
He's not on
That's
here.
surprising. Okay, so I'm missing like 3 guys.
Yep, you're missing it. No, 2. You're missing an outfielder in the AL East and a third baseman in the NL West.
Okay, outfielder.
Number 3 is the outfielder in the AL East.
Okay.
He's a really good hitter.
Yeah, like I definitely should have gotten him by now.
Yeah,
probably.
he's a big guy.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, definitely should have gotten that.
378.
So now I'm missing the third baseman.
From the NL West.
Plays in the NL West.
Big hitter, obviously.
Justin Turner.
No,
I didn't think he would get all them homers. So, is Evan Longoria on here?
Evan Longoria is
That's
number
a guy
6.
that's so random that he still is active playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
is he old and shit?
Yeah, he's old, but like he's just like forgotten about.
Gotcha.
That he still exists. Like, but he been playing the last couple years and starting. Really weird.
So going through the top 10. Number 1, Miguel Cabrera. Number 2, Nelson Cruz. Number 3, Giancarlo Stanton. Number 4, Mike Trout. Number 5, Joey Votto. Number 6, Evan Longoria. Number 7, Paul Goldschmidt. Number 8, Nolan Arenado. Number 9, Freddie Freeman. And number 10, Andrew McCutchen.
Boom.
You did say Paul Goldschmidt, right?
Yeah, I said Paul
Okay,
Goldschmidt,
I thought so.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm happy I got him. Obviously
you
took
did
some hints,
but like those, I mean, that's for guys who aren't baseball guys.
Yeah.
If you would have given me NL West, I would have sat here with a blank face.
I do know like the divisions and everything.
Gotcha.
So, like,
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I would
You're
say
a
I'm
baseball
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you totally are.
I just can't think of the guys like off the top of my head too quickly like I can with basketball or football. All right, let's talk about the Final Four. So, last weekend was a crazy weekend in the Elite Eight. The Final Four is FAU versus San Diego State and Miami, Florida versus UConn.
What the hell is going on?
What is going on? This has been a crazy Final Four, or just a tournament in general, leading up to this Final Four. Last time that we spoke was before Michigan State was eliminated. But it's kind of like, you know, it's old news now. I don't need to talk about it that much. Yeah, it sucks. We had a good year, though. But however, like, I the more and more I look at this Final Four, it just pains me to see that 9-seeded FAU there. It's just like that, like the blueprint to the Final Four was there. Like it really was realistic, like very realistic.
For sure.
Overtime game, like, you know, the fake argument lob play is going to go down as one of the coolest plays ever, and we're on the opposite end of it. It sucks, but Whatever.
What an incredible game.
Yeah.
I mean, unreal. We got to witness one of the greatest college basketball performances ever with Marcus Noel setting the assist record in the tournament. And on the other end, we watched Michigan State play a hell of a basketball game with some mistakes. We don't need to talk about any of those. But what an awesome season for a team that I didn't think was going to end up here, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And had a chance to win. The Final Four is so unreal right now of just randomness. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe that one of these 4 teams is going to win the Natty. I wonder if any of these 4 teams, you know how before the bracket starts every year, well, every national champion is a top 8 Ken Palm in defensive capability.
UConn
God damn it, I hate that because I want them to not fit into that.
UConn fits into that criteria because I made that future bet on UConn to win the whole thing like 2 months ago. And it's looking pretty damn good right now.
Incredible.
It's 3 to win like 100, I think. I'll share my bets with everyone. I'm not ashamed.
Well, you shouldn't be.
And so the cash out right now is like $45, which is obviously intriguing. But they are the favorite to win this thing. I mean, they look like the best team.
They're legit.
They've dominated every game. I mean, they really have. So I'm not gonna cash out because why?
Yeah,
why would I?
You believed it 2 months ago. Why would you stop now?
Exactly. So. But the reason I placed that bet was because they were one of those teams that was like, one of the 12 teams or whatever that fits into the widest range. And I was like, I kind of like UConn. Like they're kind of slept on. Like they have really good odds. So I think I got them like plus 3,000. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. And it's paying off right now.
You look like a genius.
I do. I'm really not that much of a genius though. It was just like a lucky pick.
Yeah. But you still put the money down.
I did.
You pressed bet.
I also make a lot of futures bets, so like
they're the most fun.
They're so fun, but it just sucks having it sit there for so long. Like I made MLB MVP bets like a couple weeks ago, and that just has to sit there till October.
Yeah, that does blow.
Or November even until they announce it. It's just like that's going to be quite some time from now. I've already made NFL. I made one on Dan Campbell to win Coach of the Year because like
that's awesome.
He's gonna win it.
Where does he get the nickname MCDC?
Motor City Dan Campbell.
Gotcha. I was thinking it was like type MC. Like he is the best DJ
it was
in
not
the world.
That. But back to the Final Four. Let's talk about the high tempo bracket group. So right now there is one individual that still can get more points, and that is Jack Scott. You know Jack Scott?
I don't know. I hope I don't. Like because if I do and I don't remember, I feel like an ass.
I also would feel that way, but like I
can't think of a Jack Scott.
I don't think I know a Jack Scott unless like a Jackson Scott. I don't think also doesn't ring a bell.
Shout out you, Jack
but it's
Scott.
his main 3. So this is his 3rd bracket, and he has UConn winning the whole thing. Only guy in the whole bracket to pick UConn win the whole thing. Only one to have him in the championship too, because he's the only one that has max points. However, he's not in first place currently. He is in 5th place, so he needs a UConn win in this Final Four game to secure the dub in the high tempo league. If not, if somehow UConn loses to Miami, which obviously they could, we have a 2-way tie for first right now between Chance Wells.
Shout out Chance. Shout out my guy. My guy.
That's your boy. And you are the other one that is tied with Chance at 630 points. Creighton, man, they could have done it. What a crazy ending.
You want to talk about a path. Like, it was cemented. They put the asphalt down for them, and they blew it. It's funny that I can be tied for first. I do not have one Final Four team correct.
I mean, 630 points is the top.
It's terrible.
That is so bad. Like this has been an like remember when I said at the beginning of the tournament, like since everyone says this is the year of like ultimate parity in college basketball, not a dominant team, it's gonna be the year of like no upsets.
You were so wrong.
No,
backwards.
Like literally the opposite. This is actually the craziest bracket ever. Let's talk about that Creighton San Diego State game. Like, what do you think about that foul called at the end of that game? Was that viable? Because it's been quite controversial.
Yeah, is that the one they're trying to? I don't know what you're talking about.
So San Diego State, it was tied. San Diego State put up a floater. Like he drove to the lane, put up a floater about basically at the buzzer. And the guy Nemhard's little brother, Ryan Nemhard, put his hand, like he contested the shot, didn't foul with his hand, but had his hand on his hip, kind of pushing him as he was in midair. Fouls called, which shout out the ref for calling that, because fouls don't get called at the end of games like that, especially at the buzzer. and he gets sent to the line and knocks down a free throw for them to win the game, basically.
If I'm the referee, I'm letting that play go. I don't love the idea that a foul call determines a game unless it's some ugly, brutal foul. I hate it and I'm not saying foul the guy every time in the last second of the game to get away with it.
But you usually can, though.
You usually can.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, that doesn't sound like some crazy bad foul. That sounds like a pretty
but
generic.
it was a foul. Like, it clearly affected the shot. Like, he was moved as in midair. Like, it wasn't like a blatant foul.
But it was like he definitely moved him.
It was a foul, though. And, like, I'm a believer that if it gets called at, 6:30 left in the first half, it gets called with 1 second left in the game. That's how I understand, like, it shouldn't, the game, being determined by a foul sucks, but, like, it's a foul. It's don't foul, like, it's just, that's how I feel about it. Like, the ref had a very clear view at the call, so that's why he called it. It's unfortunate that for Creighton, obviously that has to end that way because they sat there and looked at the review for time and everything for so long. The ending of that game took forever just for them to call it off. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's a terrible way to end your season. And I would hate to be the ref to make that call. So, like, the balls on that guy.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It's a lot of respect.
Yeah, a lot of respect for that ref. You'd want to talk shit about refs like everybody's been doing lately. You see all the negative ref talk lately. They've got the toughest job in the world.
They have the hardest job ever.
If they don't make the call, they blew the game. If they make the call, they blew the game.
They blew the game. Either way, they blow the game.
So it really sucks. But I know that I'm a guy that I would just rather let it play out in OT.
Yeah, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So let's talk about, before we make our predictions in this Final Four, let's give some shout-outs to the other guys that ended towards the top in this bracket. So like I said, you and Chance are tied for first. Boo made a valiant effort. He was the leader for quite some time. My cousin Boo.
Shout out Boo.
Just one point off you guys. Had a 620. Just barely missed it underneath. Had the lead for the majority of this thing, but Houston losing obviously ruined his bracket. Cade, I assume Cade's gonna win is Cade block. I would assume.
I would guess. That sounds like a Cade thing.
Cade finishes in fourth place with 6. I mean, could finish lower, obviously, if Jack Scott gets UConn. Cade's going to win, though. He didn't win, but he finished towards the top, so he gets the shout-out. Jack Scott sitting there in fifth place. ESPN fan, whatever. Sorry, you had Arizona winning, so, like, whatever.
Major out.
I do know this ESPN fan, no, whatever. It's Kennedy because she had Purdue winning. Shout out to her
Put together
for
a good bracket.
Exactly. Like, her bracket was ruined day 2 with Purdue losing, but still finished in the top 10, so you got to respect that. Jack Swartley, shout out to you for finishing towards the top here. I found out who Low Tempo is, and it is my cousin Jared. So a shout out to Jared. He texted me and said, I'm Low Tempo, which I thought that was hilarious because I figured it was just some random person just hating. But no, he just thought it was funny. So.
It's the guy who watches or listens every single episode.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to my cousin Jared for being in the top 10 as well. And then my bracket is the final one in the top 10. Which I had a chance because of Texas. I had a chance, but they blew that game against Miami. So that is the top 10 basically finishing in this bracket. And we'll see if Jack Scott can pull it off. I'm rooting for you, man, because we don't need a tie.
I'm not rooting for you. I'd rather tie for first.
Yeah, obviously. But, like, we have to shout out you for winning, like,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, so let's pick these Final Four games. On Saturday, they will be played. What a crazy Final Four we have here. 9-seeded FAU taking on 5-seeded San Diego State. San Diego State is 1.5-point favorites.
Oh boy. My bad. Worst time to yawn. I've got FAU. I want FAU to, at this point, it's funny. I've done the flip-flop on FAU 3 times now. I was the FAU fan to the FAU hater to now back. FAU might as well just win it all. I think that's going to happen? No. But I think FAU can definitely win this game. They play some good basketball, man. Good hoops.
It's really weird to think that the winner of this game will play for a national championship. Like, that is so weird. FAU or San Diego State? Like, obviously, San Diego State's a team that's in the tournament basically every year, but never succeeds in the tournament, And it's just like they never have, like, this top player. Never have, like, there's always, like, just a team that is there.
I
that
only
loses
know
in the first or second round.
One player ever from San Diego State, and that's Kawhi. Yeah. I can't name another guy.
Like, the guy on their team right now, Matt Bradley, is, like, the only guy I could name that's on their team. He's their best player. But that's
it.
Other than that, yeah, I can't name like a player that's gone there in the past that played in the NBA. Yeah, I really can't.
No, I can't.
But yeah, FAU taking on San Diego State. This is a really tough one. I think I'm going to go with FAU, though, to beat San Diego State. I think I'm going to pick them. It should be a good matchup. You picked them. It's going to be a tight race. Obviously, only 1.5 point line here, so I'm going to go with FAU. Moving on to the second game. This should be a very fun one. We have 5-seeded Miami, Florida, taking on 4-seeded UConn. UConn is 5.5 point favorites in this one.
And they definitely should be. Their big man, that dude is a bruiser. He is mucking shit up in this tournament. He feels like, and his impact might not be that massive but when you're watched, you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see what he's doing out there. However, I think it'd be pretty cool to do an all-Florida national championship.
That'd be cool.
So give me Miami to win this game.
And they're like close, too.
Yeah,
like, because we were actually looking the other day because I didn't know where FAU was. It's in Jupiter, which is pretty damn close to Miami. Like, it's down in that southeastern coast part. Like, so that'd be pretty cool.
So it'd be spring break on top of the Natty Championship. All Florida might explode.
Yeah.
It might sink finally.
It might go underwater finally. This is a really good game. Jim Larinaga has done a really good job with this Miami team the last 2 years. But UConn, man, I picked them to win this whole thing. I can't go away from them now. Jordan Hawkins has been the tournament guy that's getting this draft hype. He's supposed to go mid-first round, late lottery type guy now. Really good all-around wing player, really good scorer. I'm going to take UConn. They've won all their games handedly. They have dominated their opponents. And it's not like it's a bad list of teams. It is good teams. They've been beating the hell out of them. So give me UConn to win this one. So you would have FAU versus Miami. Who wins it?
FAU. I want to see this team. I didn't know how good they were coming into the tournament. I didn't realize that even though, let's say they wouldn't have won their conference tournament, they would have been in.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they only lost 3 games all year.
Yeah, they were nasty. So I would love to see that story, the Cinderella story of FAU, even though they didn't even have to go through Purdue because Purdue is so bad. I would love to see that happen. So give me FAU. That's the new story.
If FAU wins the whole thing, dude, wow,
it would be unreal.
I mean,
it's the greatest Cinderella story ever.
It'd be one of the craziest college basketball seasons ever. I mean, it already is. This already is for sure. But if any team other than UConn wins, basically, it's crazy.
But do you think that'll make it forgettable?
No, I really don't.
You don't think in 20 years nobody will care about this? Because
I mean, you could say about every single tournament though, from I
guess
years past. Last year being all blue bloods. Is everyone going to remember that?
I feel like that makes it more interesting, more historical.
It could be
in the context.
But what do you remember more, this year or last year?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know though. I'm asking.
I will probably. You're right. I probably will remember Florida Atlantic winning it over anything else.
And I remember no 1 seeds being in the Elite Eight, and it's gonna be because that never happened.
I'll always remember Marcus Noel's that performance,
exactly.
even sure. That too.
So I would have UConn versus FAU. Give me UConn. There is an unfortunate world where how crazy this has been, where UConn just blows out Miami and then blows out the team in the championship. Not saying they will, but there's with having these lower seeds in the tournament, there is a chance where not good games happen, but I don't think it will though. We really have not had many bad games
other than the UConn ones.
Yeah, literally. That's basically it.
They're blowing out everybody.
Literally. So that is going to be our picks for that. A little bit more college basketball news. The McDonald's All-American game is tonight. We're going to watch that after this. Pretty excited to watch that because Xavier Booker and Jeremy Fears will be participating on opposite teams. Obviously, Michigan State recruits coming in this year. So really excited to watch that. Obviously, you're listening to this after it came out. Little bit of transfer portal news, not too much. Hunter Dickinson spoke on his Round Ball podcast with Marty Mush the other day, talking about his options going forward here for Michigan. Obviously, he wasn't saying he's going to enter the portal or anything, but he basically just straight up asked him, what's the process like for you now? With potentially going to the draft or entering the portal. It wasn't much information, but he was just speaking about what his options are for going forward. He talked about maybe going pro, but he's also talked about that his last 2 years at Michigan, which I still don't think he's going to. But I really don't see a transfer happening. I think that would be pretty crazy.
I couldn't imagine him in another set of colors. He is a Michigan guy through and through now. At this point in his career, it'd be so unless he grad transferred, next year. But it would be so weird to see him. I can't imagine him transferring. For him to go pro would just be almost blasphemous.
Yeah,
he'd go pro and he'd go play overseas. I mean, that's what going pro for him
right.
is. He can't go to the NBA.
Yeah, I don't think so either. As far as big name transfer guys, Caleb Love will be transferring from UNC. Had a pretty poor year this past year. The entire UNC team did. Joseph Girard is entering the transfer portal from Syracuse. A couple other Big Ten guys. Tamar Bates from Indiana is transferring, which is kind of a surprise. Illinois is losing another guard to the transfer portal, Jaden Epps. They've lost 4 guards in the last 2 years to the transfer portal. Pretty interesting. Four high-level guards, too.
Big time.
But maybe that means more minutes for, what's his name? Dude from Michigan, Ty Rodgers.
Yeah, yep.
Maybe that means a bigger role for him next year. It'd be cool to see him play as a starter with Illinois. And then Michigan, I assume, is just going to be exploring the transfer portal heavily this offseason with, Jet Howard leaving, potentially Kobe Buffkin leaving, and just having a depleted young roster anyways.
If there was a guy that I would expect to come to Michigan, it would be Joe Girard, though. I could definitely see that guy going to Michigan.
It could be, yeah.
He feels like a Michigan guy to me.
Definitely, there's a chance. I honestly don't know.
The high-scoring point guard who just scores the shit out of the basketball. And he'd be awesome to shoot it from range to pair with Hunter Dickinson. That would be really, really cool. One of the better shooters in the country.
And there will probably be some bigger names that come out in the portal as well over the next couple of weeks. Before we get into the NBA talk, let's talk a little bit about the NFL because it came out yesterday that Lamar Jackson requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens almost a month ago, back on March 1st or 2nd, one of those days. This was a big news drop on Twitter and everything. But I really don't feel as this is very big news. It's not like Lamar Jackson is locked up under contract from the Baltimore Ravens. He's been available to talk to other teams, sign with other teams, and hasn't yet. And so the fact that he requested this trade over a month ago, it doesn't change much for the current situation for Lamar. I don't know what's going to happen really.
Me either. I have no idea what the future looks like. I could honestly just see him, the other team finally works out a deal, and then Baltimore goes, okay, yeah, we'll pay you that too, and sign the dotted line, and he's back in a Ravens uniform. But I don't know what his future looks like, and I agree. I feel like it just, what's new? We knew he didn't want to be in Baltimore if they weren't going to give him money. Everybody knew this. There's no.
And we
new
knew that if he's leaving, it's going to be via trade. The Ravens aren't just going to let him leave for nothing. They are going to trade him if he goes somewhere else. And just because he requested a trade doesn't mean that teams want to trade for him. That's something that we've seen with Lamar Jackson this offseason. I love Lamar Jackson. I'm a huge fan of his. But it's clear that the want for him across the league is not as high as expected of that he thought or that really anyone thought, as a casual fan thought. I really figured that more teams would want to get Lamar Jackson, and he was not prioritized this offseason. Who needs a quarterback that isn't just going to draft one?
There isn't one.
I don't think there is a team. The Atlanta Falcons said today that Desmond Ridder is going to be their starter. The Washington Commanders said today that Sam Howell is going to be their starter. So it's those were two of the teams that were maybe they go get Lamar, but now they're not going to.
So what if the Commanders get bought out? I mean, they're working right now. Matt Johnson.
Yeah, that's actually going down today. Yeah, $6 billion.
It's incredible, dude. That's horseshit.
That is quite the price to pay.
It's just it pisses me off hearing those type of numbers.
Okay.
Anyways, what if new management, new ownership, they step in and are no, actually, we do want Lamar. It could be a big move. I mean, we've seen that happen. We saw it with Matt Ishbia with the Suns. Comes in and immediately trades for Kevin Durant.
That is definitely true.
I could definitely see maybe the Commanders doing something wild. Matt Johnson buys him. I'm not sure he's crazy excited about Sam Howell.
Yeah, it would just be tough because, Ron Rivera today at the league coaches meeting was today, which was also really cool because I'll talk a little bit about Dan Campbell's, interviews that he did. But Ron Rivera was talking about, they asked him about, going to get a guy like Lamar Jackson. He said, Lamar's a great talent, no denying it, but our place in our franchise right now wants to, stay with the guy that we drafted, and we trust this guy. And so, I think it would be a hard ask or a difficult thing to pass by as an owner, just come in and say, what you said you want to do
is wrong.
Because it's not like the GM or whatever with the Suns or Monty Williams was we're not trading Mikal Bridges away.
Yeah.
You know, like that never was like something that came out. Maybe it was, but like this is, I feel like, a little bit different. But who knows? You could be right. Like that definitely could be something that happens. But the Lamar situation doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon. And for all of you Lions fans out there that want Lamar Jackson in a Lions jersey, just cut it out, man.
It's just not. It's not the time.
It's a fantasy dream world that Lamar Jackson's on the Lions. Could we do it? Do we have the assets to do it? Do we have the money to do it? Yep. Are we gonna do it? No, times 1,000. Like the Lions, they have said so many times that Jared Goff is their guy. Like the likelihood of them drafting a quarterback is 1,000,000 times higher than them trading for Lamar Jackson.
Easily. I mean, it's not even comparable.
Yeah, Jared Goff is their guy. This offense is built to not have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. You know, this offense is built to get it to the playmakers, to run the ball down your throat, and to get the ball to our elite wide receivers, not to have a quarterback that he does all the work. Yeah. Our quarterback needs to do the least amount of work. You just need to be safe, don't turn the ball over, and get the ball to guys that are going to do cool stuff.
Yeah, well, Ben Johnson will get these guys open.
Exactly.
You just got to throw it.
You just need to not throw interceptions. Like that, you know, that's your job. That doesn't scream Lamar Jackson.
No,
to me, you know.
No.
Now, could Ben Johnson cook up a crazy offense for Lamar Jackson? Yeah, he probably could. But we have a formula that works right now and that is built for right now.
Ben Johnson might invent the quintuple option if we got Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
we would see something ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be crazy. So that's the Lamar situation. Like I said, there's not too much updates on it by any means because I don't know if anyone wants him. I think he's just going to be in a Ravens jersey. Maybe he sits out, but he's going to be in a Ravens jersey. Dan Campbell talked a little bit today. He was asked about the draft and everything. But the big thing was he was asked about Jalen Carter, and he gave a very candid response about Jalen Carter. He said he basically is a fan of Jalen Carter, and he thinks that it's more important, like about the whole like showing up, being lazy, basically, he was asked about. He said he doesn't believe Jalen Carter is lazy. He said he thinks that you watch him on tape, that guy goes hard in plays. He doesn't look lazy on the field. He's like, yeah, does he look gassed at the end of plays, or does he not play all the way through the whistle? Yeah, sometimes he does that, but I don't think that's lazy. Like he's like, I just think that's how he is. We can teach him if he's here.
Yeah, it's just a bad habit.
He made it really seem like the Lions are not looking at Jalen Carter like the media is looking at Jalen Carter, I guess, which is a positive sign because we all know how good of a player Jalen Carter is and can be at the pro level, and we have a prime spot to draft him.
Yeah. And you come to Detroit and you're loved, and Dan Campbell tells you how excited he is for you to be here. We saw what J-Mo was like when he got drafted to the Lions. I mean, he was pumped. He was so excited because he knew he was going somewhere he was loved. And I think that's going to be the same way if we were to take Jalen Carter. We're the only team that's going to take a flyer on you, and we're using our 6th pick. And people don't even have you projected a top 10 pick anymore. We're still going to take you at the 6th pick. That's how much we believe in you. Seems like a Dan Campbell move.
I agree. So I'm super excited to see what goes down. I think we're going to do it. We should do a mock draft in the next couple weeks.
When is the draft?
It is April 26th or something, late 20 something. So we have like a little less than a month away till the draft. So I think we could do an early one and then do one right before the draft that like is the full first round. Maybe this one we do is only top 10 or something. So I think that was it. Yeah, actually, I thought there was something else I had to talk about, but there is not. So let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about the Pistons first, though, before we talk about like everything else, because this is going to be one of our last Pistons talks for the rest of the year. Last night, Pistons game was actually like a good game. It was the first full Pistons game that I've watched in a while. I've been like, watching them, but like kind of doing other stuff while I do them. I actually watched the whole game because they're playing pretty good against the best team in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. No Giannis, no Drew Holiday. But that's still a championship level team with really good players. And Jaden Ivey had the best game of his career. He had 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Jalen Duren looked really good. And it was just nice. I mean, they lost the game, but it was nice to see them play competitively against a really good team with our star rookie balling out.
I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
I didn't. Got nothing to say.
I just wanted to put that out there because mainly that hops into my trivia for you.
Oh,
so
cool.
That is why I wanted to bring it up.
Cool.
So there's a reason why I asked you about your trivia topic because I was like low-key stealing your trivia topic. So I was like, he might already have it planned for this one.
Gotcha.
But that's why I asked, and you don't. So last week you asked me the last 10 Detroit Lions first-round picks, which was a really good trivia.
Yeah, it is.
So I thought, why don't I ask Easton about the same question with the Pistons? So can you name me the last 10? I need to redo that. Can you name me the last 10 Detroit Pistons first-round picks? Now, remember, disclaimer, these are picks made by the Detroit Pistons. So there's a couple in here that
are weird.
Ended up on the Pistons. No, all the picks on here were guys that were Pistons. But there's a couple guesses that you're probably going to have that aren't going to count because they were traded for on draft night. And the NBA is weird where even though Jalen Duren was clearly a Piston on draft night, he's got to throw on the Charlotte Hornets hat, knowing damn well he ain't going to be on the Hornets.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because we've got like 5 first-round picks in the last.
There's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple in there. So like, there's only one every single year because like
technically they're not their picks.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's the most that is so difficult.
Yeah,
and the worst part is it's not like this is some good draft history. Like these are going to be some bad picks.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of top 10 picks though. That's for sure.
Is.
So there's 3 guys that I wrote down that are that I think you will name that don't count. But just so I have them ready to go for you. But go ahead.
So Jaden Ivey last season.
Jaden Ivey last season was the 5th overall pick.
Yep, we already mentioned Duren isn't going to be out. So like that year is done.
Yes,
right?
that year's done. Yep.
So we go to the next year. Cade Cunningham.
Cade Cunningham, 1st overall pick.
And
he was the only guy in that draft that we got in the first round anyways.
Okay, so then the next draft is going to be Killian Hayes, Beef Stew, and Sadiq, but only Killian Hayes counts.
Yes, only Killian Hayes counts. So those are the 3 guys that all don't count. Other than that, the Pistons have not had multiple first round guys on their team since in this era, basically. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, Sadiq Bey was drafted by the Brooklyn Nets, technically. And Isaiah Stewart was drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers.
This is going to get ugly here because, like, the picks aren't good.
No, out of all of these guys, you have 1 all-star and one guy that was good, really. Like, 2 guys. I don't know.
There's another guy that's good, right? Luke Kennard?
Luke Kennard is the 2017 pick. Yes, he was the 12th overall pick. He wasn't one of the guys I considered good, though.
He wasn't good on the Pistons, but he's like a solid leaguer.
He's solid, but like...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Henry Ellenson.
Henry Ellenson is the 2016 18th overall pick. Yes, out of Marquette. That was one I didn't really expect you to get right away.
Yeah, it's just like fresh in the mind because it's just so bad.
I remember, though, when we drafted Henry Ellenson, I was hyped.
That guy is the future.
Because he was supposed to go top 10, and he fell, and it was like, oh my God. Like, usually your team is never the team that drafts a dude that's fallen, you know?
Yeah,
like, it's like, why is he fallen? We need to take him. And then you do, and you're like, what?
We got to steal.
He sucked.
The guy I'm forgetting. I forgot Sekou.
Sekou is the 2019 15th overall pick.
So I've got them all in order, right?
Sekou is like the worst one. Like,
I don't know.
He's out of the league already. Like, he's
Henry
been out of the league. He was. But like Sekou was an earlier pick. They were both out of the league really early.
So fast.
So you have 4 left. You have 2015, 2013, 2012, 2011. In 2014, we did not have a first-round pick.
So it's 2011 Andre Drummond.
2012 is Andre Drummond. He was the 9th overall pick. By the way, all the rest of these guys are all top 10 picks.
Is Chris Middleton?
Chris Middleton, no, he was like a late second-round pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Brandon Jennings.
No.
He wasn't even drafted by the Pistons.
No, but you might be mistaking him for someone else.
Brandon Knight?
Brandon Knight was the 2011 8th overall pick. He's the last. He's the 10th guy.
Suns drafted him.
Brandon Knight, and he was good. He was like all rookie first team too. Like he was a damn good rookie for the Pistons for a little bit. I remember, bro, when Brandon Knight was coming up, he was the truth, dude.
Oh yeah,
I
for
loved
sure.
Brandon Knight. I loved Brandon Jennings when he was on the Pistons.
Yeah, he was a baller. Didn't he have 50?
Those take me back to my like childhood, dude.
Didn't he have 50 as a Piston?
I don't know. He might have. 2 guys left.
Is Greg Monroe the year before Drummond?
Yeah, Greg Monroe is 2010. He was the first guy would have been the 11th first round pick.
So yes. I'm missing 2 years after Drummond?
2013 and 2015. Both these guys are still in the NBA. One of them you might not know he's still in the NBA though.
Oh man, I'm 2 Pistons guys.
One of these guys is one of the guys I said I considered good. Like, this guy's a good quality starter in the NBA and has been his whole career, actually.
Oh, man.
NBA champion, too.
Oh. Okay. It's not... I know this guy. Like, I know this guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's apparent that he's a champion and he left the Pistons, right? This guy played for the Pistons. Like,
yes.
He was a player.
He played 4 years on the Pistons, didn't get his second contract, went to this other team, was pretty good, won a championship. Now he's off to his other next team. He's actually on his fourth team now, but he's also currently on another championship contending team as a starting wing player. That is my hint for you. Starting wing player.
It's not Bruce Brown.
No. He was like a second-round pick.
Starting wing player. Who in the hell is this?
This is a guy you might be forgetting of. Like, no, you know he was on the Pistons, obviously. Like, he was good on the Pistons.
I'm going through my names. A wing. Could he shoot?
Yeah, he's a definition of 3-and-D player.
Reggie Bullock?
Nope.
He did play for the Pistons?
He did play for the Pistons, yes.
I don't want to give up.
I'm trying to think of a good enough hint that isn't just going to immediately give it to you.
Would the college give it away?
No, it would not. He went to Georgia.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no
Not
idea.
many guys come from Georgia.
Yeah, you'd think that would give it away. Huh. I don't know.
So this guy, this guy was like, he wasn't like a steal by any means. And okay, this might help. Trey Burke was in this draft, and I remember Trey Burke was like, Pistons fans wanted Trey Burke so badly. And I think Trey Burke got picked either the pick before this guy or the pick after. I don't know if that helps you at all. That sparks your memory of like who we picked instead of Trey Burke or whatever.
Is that the Oladipo draft?
Yes, it is. It is indeed.
I don't think
2013 draft, one of the worst drafts in
And what overall
history.
pick was this guy taking?
The 8th overall pick.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Okay, do you want to try and get the other one before I
Yeah.
give it to you? Or do you want me
Yeah.
to just give you this one right now?
Give me that one right now.
Contavious Caldwell Pope was the 2013 8th overall pick. Yes.
Yeah, he was.
I loved KCP was good on the Pistons.
Yeah,
he was
KCP's a baller.
He obviously became a better player like elsewhere, like a more defined player, but
Good player.
he was a good player on the Pistons, yeah. Okay, 2015. This guy is like one of the biggest busts in Pistons history just because of like who we thought he was going to be.
This was supposed to be
like he was going to be
Josh
a star,
Jackson.
Not Josh Jackson.
This
no.
was supposed to be Kawhi Leonard.
It was supposed to be Kawhi Leonard, yes.
And I can't think of who it was.
He's still in the NBA though.
And it's not Josh Jackson, but
No.
it's somebody like that.
It is somebody like that. It's somebody like that.
I was so high on whoever this is.
8th overall pick.
Like, I literally thought they were Kawhi Leonard.
If this helps, going back to the Trey Burke thing, Justice Winslow was the guy that was fallen in this draft, and he was there on the board, but the Pistons already promised this dude that they were going to take him, and they did, which Justice Winslow also didn't turn out either, so it didn't really, it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, this guy was like supposed to be damn good. Like he was a really high-touted high school player, really good in college, one and done, 8th overall pick. Like Pistons fans were so high
because like I remember this guy.
Like he was supposed to be like a star.
Yeah, I got the comparison right. His draft night comparison.
Kawhi Leonard was his draft night comparison.
Oh my word!
This guy's still in the league.
And it's not Josh Jackson.
No, it is not. I don't know what team this guy is on, the Jazz or the Spurs. I think he played for both of them this year. He's gotten a couple 10-day contracts, but
I don't want to give up on this one because I was big on this guy.
The Pistons fans at home gotta just be screaming.
They're smacking the TV.
This
right
guy
now.
has a nickname as well, like a funny nickname.
Funny nickname. Take a drink of water. Funny nickname.
Not a funny nickname, but just like a nickname like that we gave him right away.
Oh my god!
This is one that I think the college would give away, but I will give it to you.
You got to. I mean, you have to.
Arizona is the college.
Oh my gosh! Who is this guy? I know who this is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you knew KCP too, but like, this pick was like a big deal. This was like going to be the next like stud of the Pistons, and he just wasn't, and he wasn't at all.
Like he didn't even really play.
No, I mean he just wasn't very good.
Who is it?
Stanley Johnson is who it is, 2015 8th overall pick.
I feel better not getting that one than KCP.
Yeah.
I mean
KCP's a better player, yeah.
I just, like Stanley Johnson, that name couldn't even...
You know the nickname?
Stan the Man?
Stanimal.
Oh, yeah. Stan the man.
Stan the man.
So he did the same. He came back to Detroit, right, for that little
No,
stint?
he never did. You're still thinking of Josh Jackson. I think somebody did say something on Twitter once though about like, remember when he had that little thing with the Lakers last year where he was like actually good, and like some Pistons fan said like, I would love Stanley Johnson on the Pistons, and he was like, I would love to come back to the Pistons.
Oh, gotcha.
Which was like kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But
actually,
shout out Stanley Johnson. You're a bust, but like I still like.
I like you more than Henry Allenson.
Yeah, that's
like,
facts. That's totally facts.
I like you way more.
All right, let's get into the NBA talk finally.
I got Henry Allenson and didn't get Stanley Johnson.
Like, oh, that's hilarious.
That's the bust that sticks out to me, apparently.
Exactly. So let's talk about the MVP in the NBA, because this has been a hot topic in the NBA. Last night, actually, I wrote down the NBA MVP odds, and they've already switched from last night. Last night, Embiid has been the favorite for a minute. I actually got Jokic, threw money on him to win the MVP last week when he was at plus 270, because it had just become that like Embiid's going to win the MVP, like obviously. Mm-hmm. And
you were thinking,
I was like, whoa. This guy's been the favorite all year, and now he's plus 270, and it's like, I got to do something about that. Thankfully, I did. But last night, Jokic is at plus 120, Embiid at plus 105, and Giannis at plus 500. But tonight, at just before the podcast, I checked again just to make sure. Jokic is back to the favorite at plus 110, with Embiid at plus 125 and Giannis at plus 400. Last night was a big deal because the 76ers and Nuggets played, but Joel Embiid did not play in the game, which would have been a huge factor for, MVP. I think the head-to-head is like...
I thought Jokic didn't play.
No, Jokic played. Embiid didn't play. I don't personally think it's like a huge deal, the head-to-head thing, but like as far as just the media goes, like, if like Embiid dogged Jokic a couple weeks ago when they played, and he hit the game winner too, and like that's why he took the lead basically.
If he would have dogged him last night, it would have been like how do you? I mean, when you're talking player versus player, how can you justify that?
There's no other way to compare it than better than them playing against each other. So this has been a wild MVP race, but I still do think it's crazy that it's just between Jokic and Embiid. Like Giannis is having like a crazy year. The only thing he has is like the games played. He's played less games in both of them, but this has been an unreal MVP race.
I will say, to me, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the MVP of the league. I think he is too young at this point to start giving him the treatment. It feels like he's almost too good for the award already.
Right, yeah, honestly.
And I think that's wrong. He's a young... we don't need to do this one. They have the number one record. Year of his career. Yeah, best year of his career. Best record in the NBA. And Chris Middleton has been out for like the whole year and is still not fully healthy playing with the Bucks.
Even though he torched the Pistons last night, was hitting some crazy tough shots.
And then you look at the combination of defense and offense. There is just not a guy like Giannis in the entire NBA. And that's where I give the nod to him. Embiid and Jokic are no doubt better offensive players, but they don't even have half the impact that Giannis has on defense. Maybe Embiid. Embiid's not a bad defender.
Yeah, but not like Giannis, though. Like, he's different. Like
you're right. Really, he's not Depoy caliber. Like that's for sure.
Like, they just play the game defense differently. Yeah. Giannis is much more versatile on that end.
And to me, that's why I find it crazy when you were just listing off those odds that Giannis is so far behind.
I know.
I feel like he could win this award.
Like, I was thinking about putting money on him too, but I already did on Jokic, and it was like, it kind of doesn't make sense to do both, like, because obviously only one guy is going to win it. But it's value. Giannis at plus 400. You could have got him at plus 500 last night. But the games played is the thing where it's tough. That is something that is definitely valid for picking these awards. You don't play a certain amount of games, you can't win the award. But it's not like Giannis has missed like an absurd amount. He's just played a good amount less than both of these guys. So, Joel Embiid, they all have their arguments. We don't need to really go through them. Embiid is the scoring champ right now. Jokic is triple-double, and he's having the best year of his career, and he's already won 2 straight MVPs. Like, how can you not give it to him? And they're the one seed in the West. But Giannis is the best team in the NBA. Like you said, Chris Middleton been out like the whole year and coming off the bench for most of the year. He's averaging the most points per game of his career at 31.1. Like, how can you not give it to him? It's crazy. It doesn't really matter. Like, a lot of people love the MVP debate, and we used to always do our MVP race videos just because like they did good on TikTok and stuff. But like, I don't actually care. Like, I really don't actually like picking who the MVP is, because like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who the MVP is. I think I might agree with you that Giannis is the MVP. But just to pick something else, I think that Nikola Jokic is still the MVP of the NBA. Like, I really do think so. The Nuggets, I know that they've fallen off a little bit, but he just impacts so crazily. He's almost averaging a triple-double. He's 0.1 assists off right now. But I can see the argument for any one of these guys.
Yeah, it's crazy that three guys, you can mention a name, and I can't really, I mean, I can argue for my guy, but I can't really come up with a lot of reasons against your guy. Like, your guy is as valid as mine.
And there's no reason, this is like, I'm preaching, like, this is like JJ Redick talks about this all the time. And obviously, like, Kenny talks about this a lot too. But, like, you don't need to, like, make your argument for Giannis while bashing Embiid.
Yeah,
You're like,
sure.
well, Giannis is the MVP because Embiid isn't as good as this than Giannis is. Like, no, you can just say Giannis is the MVP because Giannis does this and Giannis does that. And that's it, period, after that.
Yep.
Like, it's not that big of a deal who the MVP is. I just think it's really cool that we have these three guys all having historical years, and only one of them gets to win the award.
Yeah, the big man is back, by the way. There was a couple of years where Clint Capella was starting in the All-Star
DeAndre
game.
Jordan was first team All-NBA one year.
Now we have three MVP candidates. I mean, Giannis doesn't get classified as a
and
center.
now Joel Embiid has never made the first All-NBA team. Like, that's
unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
All right, let's talk about the West, the play-in game, the play-in tournament, because this is an unreal race we have going right now in the West before we do our championship contenders. Right now in the Western Conference, you have the Phoenix Suns, who are at 40-35 in fourth place in the West. This team looks dangerous going forward. However, you go down to the 11th seed in the West, and they are only 3 games behind the 4-seeded Phoenix Suns, the Dallas Mavericks, at 37-39. You have the Suns, Clippers, Timberwolves, Warriors, Pelicans, Lakers, Thunder, all in between there. The Jazz are at the 12 seed. They're still alive. They're at 35-40. Like, definitely could do something. We're about 7-8-ish games left. Sometimes some 6 from some teams left in the season. So I basically want to just think, like, who is going to miss this out of those? There's going to be one team that doesn't even make the play-in tournament. Who's going to be that team? Is it going to be the Mavericks? Is it going to be, the Pelicans have been playing a lot better lately. The Lakers obviously have been playing really well, and LeBron's about to come back. I don't know who it's going to be.
It is. This whole list is crazy. I want to see OKC make it. Like, that's the team that I want to see what they can do in a play-in, in a one-game elimination. I want to see what they're made of.
Be fun.
The Lakers is another team I think I want to see make it. I want to see backs against the wall.
For sure.
What LeBron and AD do. I mean, it hasn't been good for LeBron and AD in a while. No. I would love to see them have to compete
back
to make
in a series, yeah.
I don't think Dallas is going to make it. I don't think coming down the stretch, Dallas has the tools to make the play-in tournament. I don't know what these teams' strength of schedule looks like for the end of the season, but looking on paper,
it doesn't really matter though, because the Mavericks lost to the Hornets 2 games in a row the last couple of days. Like, I mean, they did beat the Pacers last night. Did you see that pass from Luka, by the way, in the corner? Oh my God, I have to show you it after this. Dirtiest pass I've ever seen. Like,
I can't wait.
It was just a crazy pass. But yeah, the Mavericks, I think the Mavericks are going to be the team that misses. Obviously, they're the easy pick right now because they are the
team
that's out. And they're only a half game behind the Thunder and the Lakers. But a lot of these teams have been playing well. I don't see a world where Golden State misses. The Lakers, obviously, like, we all want to see them in. But I think the Mavericks are the team that's going to miss. It sucks to say, but it's going to be fun coming down the stretch to see who gets in and who doesn't.
Yeah, it sucks because Luka Magic comes alive in the playoffs, and we're just probably going to miss out on that this year.
Which, like, obviously, there's still going to be 2 teams in this play-in tournament that don't make the playoffs, too. But at least they get to play in the play-in game, which is still a high-intensity game, whereas missing it in general. But you get to boost them lottery odds, though. So the Mavericks there's no way they have their pick.
No shot.
They might be like a swap year, but
maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, because like either the Knicks have it or the Nets have it.
Yeah,
one of those 2 teams have it.
God, yeah, I don't know.
There's no way
they still giving picks to the Knicks. I really don't know.
Me either.
All right, let's do our top 5 championship contenders in the NBA at this moment. Obviously, you could just say the top 5 teams, but this is the top 5 teams that we think are like the best teams that could win the championship. Rank them in order. I personally think there's 8 teams right now that can win the NBA championship, but the 3 I left off are definitely in a different tier than the 5 that made it.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I don't know if I have those same teams, but to me, the West is just not as strong as the East to me.
Definitely not.
The East, it's the East finals to lose.
I really think there's only 3 teams in the East that can win a chip. I really, personally, I think that's it. The West, there's plenty of teams that could all go on a run and just make the finals.
Yeah, and that's what I see. They can make the finals. I don't know if they can win the chip against one of these Eastern Conference teams. My number 5 is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
Recently, we see James Harden goes down with a little bit of injury. To me, where the Philadelphia loses a little bit is their defensive versatility when it comes playoff time. I think in a 7-game series, we have learned in the past few years, defense is probably more important than offense. You look at the Celtics run they went on. You look at the Miami Heat. These are defensive-oriented teams.
Yeah,
the
even
Bucks,
the Warriors last year, they were a defensive-minded team.
The Bucks, the Raptors, all defensive-minded basketball teams. If you do not have a strong defensive identity and be able to be versatile in a series, I don't think you can win a lot of those series. However, that doesn't mean, I mean, they're still a 5th team. They can win a championship. This team absolutely can to me.
Mm-hmm. My number 5 is the Denver Nuggets of the Western,
really?
1 seed in the Western Conference. Yeah, it's a crazy that, but this isn't about rankings, or this isn't about, where you are in the seeds anymore. It's about, can you win the championship? The Nuggets have not been that team. Nikola Jokic and them are under a lot of pressure this year to go on a run because back-to-back MVP, potentially 3 straight MVPs, and 1 conference finals appearance to show for it. This has to be the year for them to go on a run. I don't know if it's going to be. I really hope it is, but they're my number 5 seed. I think there's 4 teams in the NBA that I would bet on to win the championship over them.
So what does it look like? When does the stat padding argument come out?
I mean, it already has this year. It was for a while. It kind of was.
But when does it become the? I mean, let's say this year they lose out in the second round of the playoffs and nothing went wrong, no injuries, nothing. They just lost. When does he start getting the Russell Westbrook stat padding treatment? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
the true people hate this guy, think he's terrible. I think it's on the horizon if it gets ugly.
It's tough because Russell Westbrook has never been an advanced stats guy.
Yeah,
whereas Nikola Jokic is the advanced stats guy.
And you want to talk about right play,
and he's the nerd. The nerds obviously love Jokic, whereas Westbrook is not that guy.
That's true.
But there's a world where the Nuggets run into the Suns in the second round, a very realistic world.
Boom,
if the Suns
done.
get 4, Nuggets are 1. There's a world where they lose to the Lakers in the first round. That's all I'm saying, man.
My number 4 is I'm now changing mine totally up in my head. My number 4, you've changed my mind. Number 4 is the Denver Nuggets. They are my 4th team.
Really?
I guess I talked myself into it with the defensive versatility. This team is not going to defend many teams. And in the West, when you look at these teams with the championship history that some of these teams do between the Clippers, the Sun, and I don't mean championship histories and wins, but the pedigree of players that are on these teams.
Yeah.
And defensively, I think these teams are all better when I look at the Clippers, the Suns, and there's another team in there that I wanted to mention. No, it was just those 2. I don't think they can compete when it comes to those 2.
Yeah, and when's the last time a center has led a team on a historic run? Dwight Howard.
Dwight.
Not saying that the Nuggets can't, or the Sixers can't because of Embiid, and I don't count Giannis. He's different, but it's just it hasn't happened in quite some time. It's the wings, it's the 2-way wing players that lead them. So we'll see. My number 4 is the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have been iffy as of lately. A lot of drama going on there. Jaylen Brown been acting weird as hell, like usual. Clearly doesn't want to be there, future Piston.
Weird.
But this team did go to the finals last year. They know what it takes. They're led by a lot of really good 2-way players. That's basically their entire team. And they're led by vets that, know what it takes. Al Horford, Marcus Smart, and you can say Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at this point. They've been on multiple deep playoff runs. They know what it takes. However, I just think that there's a couple other teams in the East that I would trust to go on a run other than them this year, the way that they have closed out this year. So that's why they are my 4 seed.
That makes sense. My number 3 is the Boston Celtics, and I'm beating a dead horse here, but you want to talk about defensive versatility. This is the squad that has it. We talk about 2-way wings that can win a championship. they can do it. They have the ability. You're right. They have been sliding recently, especially with recent comments out of Jaylen Brown. They would actually probably be my number 2 if it wasn't for that.
Right.
Just because there's definitely turmoil.
Weird time of year
in
for all
Boston.
that to be going down.
Yeah, it's just it feels like everything's kind of going wrong all of a sudden. But with that being said, they're still my 3. I still think they're incredible and can easily win the chip.
Yeah. My number 3 is the Phoenix Suns of the Western Conference. They are my highest Western Conference team. I'm spoiling it. This team doesn't even have Kevin Durant yet. They're only the 4 seed, but I think most people would take them over the Denver Nuggets with Kevin Durant on their team. It's kind of... I just think most people would. Like Kevin Durant is returning. I think like tomorrow or Thursday, he is returning in their next game, which is going to be really fun to see him play because in those like 3 games I think he played, they looked really good. And they're just going to be so deadly. I mean, they have it all. They have the 3 best mid-range scorers maybe in the whole entire NBA, not including DeMar DeRozan. The pick and roll offense with Phoenix is going to be absolutely deadly. They have bench scorers. They do have some depth, like kind of
wing defenders.
With losing Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, obviously it sucks. But you have Torrey Craig, you have Josh Okogie, Bismack Biyombo has been doing a solid job as that backup center. He's been starting with 8 out of the lineup. So I think the Suns are the favorite out of the West. Personally, for me, they're my number 3.
Yeah, my number 2 is the Phoenix Suns. And for all the reasons you said, they just feel like, and if they had 10 games together, like Kevin Durant never got hurt, I think they're my favorite at that point.
For sure.
They would just look that unreal. But there's going to be some adjustment period, and maybe that adjustment period, something goes wrong. But who knows? But, I mean, plug-and-play player, there's no better player in the whole world than Kevin Durant. Yeah. You stick him on any roster in the NBA, he's going to get you 28 on 50% shooting every single night, and he's only going to take 14 shots or 20 shots maybe. This guy's incredible. So I'm so excited to see Kevin Durant play in these playoffs again on a team that's supposed to win the championship or has the opportunity.
Which I also don't think they're under a lot of pressure to either, just because he really hasn't been there long and he's under contract and so's the rest of them. So it's like I don't think it's like the Suns need to win this year. Like if they lose in round 2, it's like all right, like they'll be back next year fully healthy and have a whole year to like play together.
Gel, for
so
sure.
I don't think there's like too much pressure, which also I think makes them even more of a threat. You know, so. My number 2 is the Philadelphia 76ers. I really do think this. I fall for it every year. Philly's my team in the playoffs, but I like this team. The duo of Harden and Embiid has just been really good. Harden, I know he's not a playoff performer, but that's not really what this team needs him to be. Last year, Joel Embiid got injured in the playoffs, and they needed Harden to turn the clock back, and that's not what he's supposed to do on this team. Tyrese Maxey has done well in Harden's absence here. DeAnthony Melton obviously has done well for them. You said, like you talked about it, they don't have a lot of wing defensive versatility anymore. It's tough because I agree. Like they don't have, compared to these other teams, they definitely don't have the caliber of players that these other teams do. But I just think that duo of Harden and Embiid can, if they can stay healthy, because that has been the struggle for the Sixers in the playoffs, especially with Embiid is staying healthy. If they can, I really think they are the second biggest threat in the NBA.
Right behind the number 1 team, the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, this team is just poised. They're the number 1 seed in basketball. They're on a crazy tear. They were the 3 seed in the East like a month ago, and they've skyrocketed up to number 1. We haven't seen a healthy Chris Middleton. We haven't seen the healthy number 2. This team almost did it last year without Chris Middleton. This team is going to be you're going to have to build multiple walls to beat this squad. Milwaukee Bucks are so impressive. Bucks
are my number 1 strictly because their team is the team that won the championship 2 years ago, except the guys that are on that team that weren't is like Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's been a part of multiple finals runs. He knows what it takes. Javon Carter, he was a part of the Nets before he was a part of, and the Suns before he was a part of the Bucks. He knows what it takes to go on a deep playoff run. That whole team is full of guys that knows what it takes. They know, they won crazy series in that run when they won the finals. They know what they have to do to win it all. And like you said, they've been playing their best basketball this time of year. It's hard to not say they're the best team because they also have the best player in the NBA. And that takes, whether he's the MVP or not, I don't think it's much of a debate who's the best player in the NBA is. And it's Giannis. So having him, this team is very complete. They're becoming healthy. They have the defensive player of the year in Brook Lopez. I think they're going to win it all.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is it for today's episode, everybody. Thank you for listening. Go check us out, and bye.
Peace.